Good day, beautiful tribe. Today is March 17th, 2026. And this intense window of Mercury retrograde energy shift is about to finally come to a close, as we are also about to step into Equinox season and a very powerful new moon waxing moon cycle that is there to assist us all in manifesting our dreams and aspirations. On the other note, so many folks are asking right now, is Netanyahu still alive? Is he still with us? After that viral AI video of him showing that he had 6 fingers and at some points his teeth disappearing in his mouth, what is that all about? And is it to hide the fact that he might not be with us anymore? We're going to, of course, delve deeply and ask the spirits about that today. Well, I already asked the spirits, so I'm going to tell you what they said today. Another big question that is on many people's minds: is there a planned attack coming to California? The FBI claims that there is a big threat hanging in there coming in from Iran, although we actually never heard Iran make that threat. Only the FBI told us so. So is there a deeper plan behind all of this? Maybe an inside attack that may be coming to Los Angeles, California? A well-orchestrated plan there to appear as a flag that flies ever so falsely? Huge details on that today. Big details. Another thing that's been going viral. Now, a prediction that I made back in August of 2024 about Iran and Israel that I'm going to play for you today that you just have to hear again. And many of you probably never heard it because it was from August of 2024. This is really interesting, and it really kind of resonates greatly right now with the current times and everything that's happening in the Middle East. It's pretty wild. And not only that, I have another clip from a channeled session that I did back in 2023, and how I now believe that that channel prediction is going to pertain to the year 2028 and the 2028 elections here in the United States of America. Another clip that you're definitely going to want to hear today. We saw 2 doomsday fish wash ashore in Cabo in the Baja region. Is this a sign of something huge that's on our doorsteps? As we see Mount Kilauea shooting off floods in Maui and all kinds of craziness happen all over the planet, including the bomb threat on an airplane in, what was that, Nashville or somewhere around there, causing an evacuation after a man started screaming that he had a boom on board. Tons of airline issues over the past few weeks, delays, cancellations, problems at airports, especially over there in the Middle East. A warning that I made before we walked in and stepped into March, and when we stepped into this Mercury retrograde energy. There's also a warning today about food prices. Another thing I warned is that the Cuban people would eventually rebel. You remember that prediction? And they are actually doing so right now. There are apparently huge protests that have broke out all over Cuba due to a permanent blackout that's occurring there right now. We have anti-conflict protests that are hiding what's happening in Israel. There's big protests in Israel, but of course they're hiding that. We have the mysterious disappearance of General Neil McCasland, who is linked to UFOs and UFO research. Copperfield was canceled. Interesting enough, much more are going to be canceled than just Copperfield, and much more on today's episode. This is season 5, friends. Episode number 208 of Tuesday's Teatime, baby. Good day, beautiful tribe. I hope you all had a great week and a relaxing weekend. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all our Irish friends out there. We finally begin to slowly flow out of this direct Mercury retrograde energy and this big energy shift, which hasn't really been that big except for the emotional flows and, of course, the conflicts that are happening all over the globe, especially in the Middle East. But, we're flowing out of that. We come out of that on the 19th at Mercury retrograde direct and step into the post-shadow of Mercury retrograde. Much lighter energies. Now also we're flowing towards the new moon in Pisces, which is going to kick in at 3:23 p.m. Arizona time and 6:23 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, March 18th. Starting off today on a positive note, the Pisces new moon is a complete reset for all of us, friends. A reset in communications, a reset in recalibration of our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. And the body, minds, and spirits of the entire collective. The new moon is going to give us a special opportunity, being it falls days prior to the equinox. Therefore, it's very, very powerful. It offers us the opportunity to manifest on new powerful levels. And sure, it may, probably will, of course, be a bit emotional in the coming days. So make sure that you flow through those emotions, stay grounded, stay centered, stay focused. Your focus should be coming into more clarity in the next few days too. So if you've been a little ADHD, yeah, that should come to a close pretty soon too. So these new next few days that are happening, these next few days give us this whole new opportunity and another opportunity as well, the opportunity to expand our awareness. To expand our awareness and to open up to new realms of possibility when it comes to things like communicating with your spirit guides and your guardian angels, your spirit allies, elemental spirits like the fairies, and even communication with angelic energies and ancestors in spirit. So take advantage of this. In order to do so, of course you need to meditate. You got to take some time to meditate with the intentions, friends. Put out the intention before your meditation that you want to connect to these elements or to these ancestors and to heightening your intuition at the same time. The more we practice, the better we become at it. Practice makes perfect, like they say. Now the Pisces energy and the other current water transits that are going on, and there's a whole lot of them right now, friends. We are in times of waters for sure. We are in sometimes muddy waters, but we are coming out of those muddy waters. So Pisces energies and the other current water transits are assisting all of us in opening up that third eye intuition. The third eye intuition, and even more importantly, your crown chakra, the pineal gland, your ability to communicate with spirit, the divine, and gives you more clarity so that you can begin to receive the insight in which you are seeking. Remember, friends, all the answers lie right within us. So tap into your heart energy, tap into the heart chakra, and to your elemental guides. You'll be glad you did. It's a powerful time to do so. Those water signs are all there to help you and assist you with that intuition and that connecting with the divine and with the spirits. Now, the Pisces new moon happens to be very, very symbolic this year. It's literally a cosmic reset, being it falls right at the end of the zodiac, friends. Right at the end of the zodiac, and days before the equinox. That doesn't happen very often. Not very often at all. So this represents the closing of an energetic cycle and preparing the whole entire collective for this new cycle that's opening up for us. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac. Aries is the first sign, which really Aries is the true New Year equinox, March equinox, is the true New Year's. Remember, there's 13 months in the year. They changed it. Pope Gregory II changed it and manipulated it a long time ago. We talked about that on previous shows. So this is a great cycle, friends. A great cycle for emotional release and healing, mystic insight, and prophetic dreams. You may also have noticed many symbolic synchronicities happening all around you. There's also this whole Neptune influence that's coming into play with Pisces and being ruled by Neptune. Pisces ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams, mysticism, illusions, and prophecy, and our ability to tap into prophecy. This means that this energy and this transit's going to bring about spiritual visions, psychic awareness, deceptions or misinformation, so be aware of that. And this whole dissolving of the illusions. I know David Copperfield's illusions dissolving right now because he was just X'd out from, what is it, Caesar's Palace? Yeah, they kicked him out for being a part of those files. You know what files we're talking about. Yeah, bye-bye, David. No more magic for you. You'll be doing little kitty birthday parties, probably for the globalists and Epstein friends. Anyway, the moon. The moon forms this very supportive aspect with the planet Uranus, the planet of surprises, the planet of revolutions. This is likely going to trigger unexpected breakthroughs, sudden insights, and social and technological shifts. Many of you have maybe noticed that you've had these feelings of nostalgia or maybe a lot of grief. This is all part of the healing. Remember that. This is a very healing process that we're in right now. Feelings of empathy and compassion are in a literal ignition in your spiritual curiosity. So there's going to be these little waves. Some of them are going to be big waves of spiritual awakenings happening. And it doesn't all happen at once. We don't get just one big tsunami wave. It starts with the little waves first. And these waves are going to increase interest in spirituality, prophecy. So channels like this and similar to this are going to begin to get more and more people seeking out that information, especially even mystical topics, UFOs to Bigfoot, all that stuff. And my favorite part, this is going to open up new natural paths of healing. Folks are going to begin to become more curious about natural remedies as we all experience this newfound psychic sensitivity in this coming week. Now remember, Neptune brings revelations, lots and lots of revelations. Revelations about hidden truths, revelations around friends, family, so much that has been hidden from us, and so many of those lies and that propaganda, it's like little bubbles floating up in the air, and those little bubbles are going to begin to pop, one after another. That's going to be interesting. I'd like to pop a few of those bubbles myself. Let's get out there with our little sticks and start popping the bubbles. When these bubbles pop, what in turn happens? It unleashes all these new truths, especially new truths around scandals, secrets coming to the surface around the, media, globalists, celebrities, all that. And a lot of media is going to push out a whole lot of misinformation. This is a big window of propaganda and misinformation, so we must be very, very mindful and always allow our hearts and our first instincts intuitively to guide us, and not by what mainstream media and the governments are going to be pushing out in our faces in the coming months. Now remember, really important, friends, take some time this coming weekend to honor yourself, to honor your journey, honor your feelings, very, very important, and of course, your spirit guides and spirit allies and elemental spirits, ancestors, and so forth. My recommendation with the equinox, light yourself a green candle. Light yourself a green candle in the coming equinox with the intentions to manifest specific things that you wish to call into your life. You write them down on a piece of paper. And here's how I do it, friends. I write them down like this. I write them down. Thank you, universe, for opening me up and bringing me blank, blank, and blank. So for example, thank you, universe, for opening me up and bringing me a new career or business opportunity that goes above and beyond anything I could have dreamed of. Or thank you, universe, for opening me up to new friendships and relationships. Things along those lines. Write them down on the paper. I always like to do 3 things. If I do happen to have 3 things that I want to manifest, but I always do like to do 3 things. Write them on a piece of paper and then fold that paper, I'm going to use this, towards yourself 3 times, representing that coming to you threefold. Read those goals aloud. First, light your candle, of course, then read the goals aloud, and then fold the paper towards yourself 3 times. Place that paper underneath your candle until the candle burns out. Once the candle burns out, you can do what you want with the leftover wax, but hold on to that piece of paper. Hold on to that piece of paper until maybe solstice in December, not summer solstice, but winter solstice, or when your wishes are fulfilled. When your wishes are fulfilled, take that piece of paper and burn that paper during the full moon to represent and do so with gratitude. Now, on Sunday, myself, I happen to be seeing my friend Megan, who is my main artist for all my art on my body. She has the Shop Eternal Etchings Body Art Studio. Specifically, I'm going there to get a tattoo of one of my spirit allies. That ally happens to be Mama Wolf, and I'm looking forward. Woof! Woof! Where's my dogs? Got two big dogs in here with me. I think Parker's over there sleeping. You probably can't see him over there. Yeah, we'll get them in on here soon. So I'm also going to get the wolf right here on my forearm and my initials JT on my fingers right here. And that's, to me, a great way to start off the equinox. Start off directly the day after the equinox, actually. So how are you, friends? How are you going to be celebrating this weekend in our true new year that begins on this equinox, March 20th? Let us know in the comments. It's really important. Very important. And remember, my warnings also around water and water-related events, including flash floods, leaking appliances that happen here. The washer overflowed and the whole washroom became flooded. Issues with pipes. And just any issues revolved around waters. I had 2 sold-out events this past weekend. Thank you to all those that did come out to the Summer Seat Mansion. It was great to see you all. And I heard many stories of people there that said they had problems with pipes or leaking things or water issues. And it's not just the water issues like that, but the waters itself, like the oceans, problems with the oceans, maybe something that comes out of the Great Lakes. We have already been seeing, again, many events play out in the waters. Look at the Middle East and all the conflict between the navies and all the boats or ships that were allegedly sunk. I'm sure they were. I mean, say allegedly because I didn't see them sink, but I'm sure they did sink. I have no doubt. I mean, we're in that time. It makes total sense. And this is going to go on, friends, for the next few coming weeks. It's not over. It's definitely not over for a while. We have a lot of water stuff this year. It's going to be interesting. And you know what? I get this sudden feeling that there's going to be an issue surrounding the waters around Taiwan. But again, go to the strait up there in Iran. Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz. Drew a blank there for a minute. Look what's happening there. It's closed. You know, water issues. What did I say months and months ago, and actually in my 2026 predictions? That we would see trade routes being shut down. Problems with ports. Problems with trade. We have it, Strait of Hormuz. And now my feeling is that there's something going on around the waters of Taiwan. And I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it feels to me that it's going to affect trade routes into Taiwan. Likely a purposeful act by China. Now, last week we talked about how China backed off. You know, they were doing all kinds of air stuff and water stuff all around Taiwan for the longest time, and then they all disappeared and went home. Well, that ended. And now they are coming, they're surrounding Taiwan right now. So I would not at all be surprised, just based on what's happening in the Middle East. As soon as Trump decides to put some troops on the ground, which he will, I told you he will, I said that in the beginning, that's going to give China the green light to go, because we'll be too occupied in the Middle East and won't have time to be occupied in Taiwan. My original feeling around Taiwan was going to be 2027. That's when I felt originally it was going to be taken. The whole unity thing that they're trying to do with China, or China's trying to do with them. But times shift and change. Timelines shift and change. And it's very, very possible that China's getting ready to do that right now, friends. You know, in the coming weeks. They're just sitting back waiting. And now they're surrounding Taiwan, just sitting back again and waiting. So remember my past predictions, again around blocked trade routes, issues with ports receiving military strikes, all which we are beginning to see widely Lots of maritime incidents, ocean events, climate-related floods, like the one again here. Well, that wasn't climate-related, but the flood in the laundry room here, and all the others that I heard over the weekend. Even actually at the Summersea Mansion, there was a problem with the toilet. It didn't leak, thankfully, but there was a problem with the toilet. It wouldn't stop running. And we couldn't catch it. And we couldn't get it put back where it needed to go. Anyway, that's what's happening with the waters and continuing to happen, especially with the new moon coming up tomorrow. And did you all happen to see the horrific floods that are inundating Maui, Hawaii right now over the past few days and over the past weekend? Friends, houses and vehicles completely submerged in flash flood waters. All this just after Mount Kilauea just sent off a massive blast. And the folks in Maui, they need a break, friends. I mean, look at how many homes were lost in the wildfires 2 years ago. And now they have people losing their homes. I saw an elderly couple that lost their home in Maui due to these floods. So prayers to our friends over there in Hawaii. Prayers to you. You definitely need it. And prayers to the entire planet because it definitely needs it. Now, being that spirituality, not just spirituality, even religion is a huge part and a huge highlight of these transits in place and that are going into place. We are in this global spiritual war, if you haven't noticed. And I would expect spiritual revival movements to arise, along with major debates around faith, religion, and even morality. Last year, I predicted that we would be seeing fear attacks revolved around religious institutions, mosques, synagogues, churches, and even religious-backed universities. And we did see a few. And we just saw another one happen over the past weekend. Over the past week, we saw, a man drove into a synagogue. And then we had the 2 men that were arrested in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, my home county, for throwing explosive devices at protesters in New York City. Thank the Lord they did not explode, thankfully. All in the name of religion, of course. Isn't it always all about religious beliefs and the division that's been put on this planet for thousands of years now? Now, sadly, we have to be very mindful if you are going anywhere where there are places of worship and even gatherings of any kind, outdoor gatherings, especially near roadways, because unfortunately I see more vehicles being used as weapons and more senseless attacks on not just people, but also on people's faith, on people's beliefs. That's the spiritual war that's really playing out right now all over the globe. Now back on a positive note. Pisces. Pisces governs the imagination and art. So therefore we can expect new creative movements to rise up, revolved around mystical themes, around, when it comes to music or film, and amazing new visionary ideas that are going to rise up into people's consciousness, especially the younger generations. Remember what I said a long time ago, where Spirit told us it was going to get to a point where people are receiving these visionary ideas or inventions and creations through these light code downloads that we receive. And then there's going to be a point where, all these people come up with things like free energy devices that they're not going to be able to suppress it anymore. We're in that time. Those downloads are coming now, especially over this coming week, says the spirits. So be sure, friends, to take some time to write down any ideas that you have. No idea is a stupid idea. Write down your goals. Write down your dreams and aspirations. Keep a dream journal. And if you don't have a dream journal, this is a perfect time to keep a dream journal, because your dreams are going to become more and more clear. Have you noticed that? I have, funny enough. I had this wild dream on Sunday night where this girl, I don't know who this girl was in my dream. I felt like I knew her. Like she was like a friend in the dream. It was really weird. And she came to me and she said, "I'm friends with Sharon Osbourne." And Sharon Osbourne saw you on YouTube and would like you to come over and connect with Ozzy in the heavens for her. Perhaps this was a prophetic dream, friends. Perhaps it was a prophetic dream, because that would be, and maybe that opportunity will arise. That would be such an honor. That would be awesome. Really awesome to do that for them. Yeah, wouldn't that be a cool connection? Anyway, I've connected with many cool, famous celebrities in the heavens. I'd say my favorite one I connected with was Michael Jackson twice for an Oscar-winning actress in Hollywood. I can't tell you who, because I keep that, client's privacy private. The second one I'd say that came through to me that was pretty cool was Frank Sinatra. I had a famous jazz player, a lot of different famous people come through. Interesting. The jazz player was someone I didn't even know. I can't even remember who it was. But good times for sure. That was the dream I had on Sunday night. Have your dreams got much more clearer? Let us know in the comments down below. And being that water is such a major influence in all these transits, our lives and our energies right now, take some time, friends, to go wander down to the waters. Whether it's the ocean, the river, the creek, and, some water, body of water, especially flowing water is the best. Remember, water clears blockages. Water holds consciousness and information. So sitting by the water and doing some little meditations, perhaps, it's a great spiritual cleansing, but you got to do some meditation. Another thing is perhaps do a spiritual cleansing bath. I like to do a spiritual cleansing bath. I use sea salt, baking soda, bentonite clay, and borax powder. Borax pulls heavy metals out of your body. I use those combinations. I put some, usually lavender oil in my bath, and probably will do that, come to think of it. It's a good idea. So think about that. Do a spiritual cleansing bath over the weekend, because that can help us to release so much. And we can release emotions, fears, and the energies into the waters. So imagine that while you're sitting in the tub and all those salt water, sea salt, or what have you, your cleansing bath. And when you pull out that plug, just imagine the emotions, the fears, and all the negative energies going down the drain. While, water's there to hydrate us and hydrate our souls. It's a healing vibration. Remember, again, Dr. Emoto Masaru proved that water holds consciousness and reacts to emotions. Your body is 85-90% water. So when you say negative things or do negative things, you are repelling that into your body, which is causing deformations. It's causing deformations in the cells in your body, proven by Dr. Emoto Masaru. That's why it's all positive things. Look in the mirror and tell yourself how awesome you are. One last reminder today, friends. One last reminder is folks are still very, very sensitive. A little oversensitive, I gotta say. A little sensitive, a little emotional. Some people are a lot emotional right now. And in turn, when people are emotional and sensitive, they overreact. They jump to conclusions. And many people jump to instant judgments. They see or hear one thing and they instantly judge it or come to their instant conclusions. So friends, stay on the down low. The past week, we hit that block button on comments, blocking at least a dozen social media trolls or more in the comments. Not cool. Remember, this happens to be the tribe. This happens to be my home here on this channel. So, treat it with respect. Because of those who do attack me in the comments, or anyone in this tribe for that fact, with your negativity or your judgments, remember, it will be the last comment that you ever leave on this channel. Be positive. Positive vibes, friends. Also remember, because someone posted in very large caps, please don't post in all caps in the comments. It's kind of a little bit obnoxious. Someone posted in all caps, I am not listening to you anymore. Didn't say why, but remember, I say it all the time. This is not an airport. You do not need to announce your departure. Move on, and I hope you have an amazing, great journey. Overall, friends, this energy and these transits are telling us all and helping us all to release the past and to trust our intuition, because a new cycle is about to begin. I just want to take a moment to welcome you Back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm spiritual medium Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT, and you can find more information about myself at spiritmanjt.com. Pretty soon in the next week, I'll be launching a new product line of mugs, t-shirts, and hats. The one that you see on YouTube, I will be deleting that one. So if there's anything in that store, shirt-wise and all that you want, you might want to get it soon. Because they'll be gone. Those designs will be gone. All new designs, all new things. Hopefully it will be out by next week. I was waiting until Mercury retrograde to be over, and we're still doing some designs and such, but some really cool stuff, including Iran from the Epstein files. Wait until you see those ones. That's a good one. That's a good one. New shirts, new mugs. Coming up either, I'm not sure, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, sometime this week, I have Black Mirror Prophecy that will be uploaded. That'll be uploaded first to the members, the extended version, and then we'll premiere the shorter version sometime this week. That's the plan. I did this on March 8th, actually, and just had it prepared, and it'll be out soon. It's already up there for my Subscribe Star people. Down below, you'll find the link to all my social media, including the free newsletter. If it's free, it's for me, so sign up. You can also sign up, and there is a glitch with people not receiving newsletters. We're working on that. We finally discovered what it is. It has something to do with some special codes that have to be put on the website and all, apparently. So we've got to work on that. Got to work on that. Other than that, you can also find all my social media, and you can find all the clips of my short video clips of predictions on Instagram or TikTok. But find all my links down below in the description. And let us move on to episode number 208 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time, baby. So many folks are asking right now, is Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu still with us? I want to know first what you think below in the comments. I told you all last year that I felt that he wouldn't be lasting very much longer. Most of the leaders in power would not be lasting any longer. But no, I got to tell you honestly, friends, he's not passed. I don't feel that he's gone anywhere other than into hiding, using social media literally as propaganda tool to throw the dogs off his track, to throw the hunters off his track. Remember, I also told you that they put a target on his back. They likely being Iran, but I saw a target. Remember, I saw the target on the back of him, just like, Target, the store. Yeah, I saw that red target on his back. So he's definitely being hunted down, and he knows it. I feel, if anything, he may actually, in the future, even fake his death in order to run, not just from the hitmen, but to run from all his crimes, of course. He's wanted for conflict crimes. Of course, he comes to the U.S. and doesn't get arrested. He's wanted anywhere else he goes. BB happens to be a Libra. Libras love telling folks what to do. No offense, Libras. They love it. And he certainly has been telling the United States what to do for a long time now. So this month of April coming up happens to be his personal 9-month in numerology. He's in his 5-year right now. Not that matters with anything, but the numbers when it comes to endings and things would be 9, and health-wise would be 4 and 9. So therefore, he may have some type of a huge ending or conclusion that could happen around him or to him in the month of April. And that could be the ending of him in power. I don't feel like he's going anywhere quite yet. But folks in Israel are actually protesting in the streets. They're not showing you that in mass media. They're not even letting that out of, I saw a few videos of the protests there, and their military people beating their own people. Saw the video this morning. It's happening. And all this is being hidden from pretty much almost all media sources. Go figure. Did you happen to see that fake AI video with BB? Where he had 6 fingers? And then at one point, when he's talking, his teeth totally, completely disappear in the video. But AI is going to get better, friends. AI is going to get better, and it's going to get easier for us to be fooled. So follow your gut intuition. So, again, as for now, Netanyahu, he's very much alive and well. And he is not hiding in Germany as we all previously assumed. He was in Germany, but he's not in Germany now. Spirit says he was there at one point, and now I see him in a place. To me, I had a vision of him, and it looked like he was in a place underground, in a bunker, that kind of looked more like an underground palace. Very well guarded, very well aware of everything that's going on with big monitors and everything. Kind of like Air Force One underground, but big and huge like a palace. That's where he's at. So Netanyahu has not gone anywhere except into hiding. The conflict in Iran is not coming to a close anytime soon, just as I warned, friends, that it would drag on a little bit. It won't be as long and drug out as the other conflicts, like the conflict in Iraq. There'll be agreements that'll come into place eventually. Probably the 7-year agreement of the Antichrist that only lasts 3.5 years, which would take us to 2029. We have to watch closely. I am going to do a video when I get back on the Antichrist. Very in-depth video, so you're going to want to watch that. But technically, I just had a brain fart again. My Lord. So anyway, the conflict's not going to be long and drug out. But it's not really going to come to a complete end in the fact that there's technically going to be fear attacks that branch out of this globally. Those that are hiding, ready to reach out and attack. So that part will still continue and will be drug out, unfortunately, in that aspect. Now, I have not been very tapped in to what's been happening as far as the conflict in the past couple days, as I've been really, really, really busy. But I do, however, want to show you a few clips today. I want to show you a few clips from things that I had stated in the past predictions. And this is going to answer another question as well. Is the new supreme leader still alive? Because many people are now presuming that he's not with us anymore. Someone in Iran in the comments said he's in a coma and missing a leg. But is he still alive? Will he remain alive? And, we know that there was a big strike, that hit him. Took out most of his family, including the original Supreme Ayatollah. Now, this prediction I'm about to show you comes from August 4th of last year. August 4th, 2025. And it makes sense of so much more that is happening right now, including the outcome of what's happening right now. Give a listen to this. Again, August 2024. Episode, I believe, 128 of Teatime, I think it was. And it wasn't last year, I'm sorry, it was 2024, sorry. August 2024, episode 128 of Tuesday's Teatime. Give a listen. Now, Israel and the United States are waiting for Iran to retaliate after the assassination of one of the Iranian leaders, which again was in past predictions. It goes along with people being taken out, world leaders falling out of power. And I told you major things were coming to changes of power in Iran. So this also aligns perfectly, again, with past predictions where Spirit told us this was coming and that there was going to be 3 changes of power in Iran. And that one of those leaders would be taken out actually by a person in his clan, a person that's in line behind him. Or at least thinks they're in line. I don't know how it works over there. But my feeling was, again, one of these people being taken out by one of their own people in Iran because they wanted to step into the power right behind them. And he is the one Spirit made me feel the world should worry about. They are planning to retaliate, but in places least expected and in ways that are least expected. Kind of like Spirit's reminded me what happened in 2001 with the towers, right? That was, you could say the least expected ways to retaliate or to go after somebody, even though we know all about that. I'm just using that as an example. So expect major surprises and shocking events to come from Iran and Iran allies. Because it's not just going to be Iran, it's going to be their allies. Remember, Spirit told us them gathering together. Several countries with their dark army preparing. Oh, that's actually in my channel prediction video that I just meditated on yesterday. I'll show you a clip of that in a few minutes.
Iran's going to use some type of a chemical or biological weapon in the near future. Spirit says, beware, Israel, beware. It will cross your border in Tel Aviv. The number I keep getting is 300 and 333. Those two numbers come to my mind. Also, the date, again, August 19th, full moon. Spirit says that that's going to be an explosive date that will go down in history. So I don't know if that has to do with the biological thing in Iran. I'm not sure. But as I was channeling this information today, Spirit said, again, that August 19th full moon is an explosive date. So I kind of take that as a literal explosive.
This shows, once again, how many of my predictions become a huge hit 2 to 3 years after those predictions were made. That was back in August of 2024. And we heard in that video, in predictions, 3 power players and 3 shifts of power coming to Iran. We now see the second person in place. So we saw the one shift happening. And now it's obvious through that video and the predictions that this new leader that was appointed, the son of the original Supreme Ayatollah, he ain't going to last very long. He's not going to last very long at all. And what I say is there's going to be more strikes, and they're going to strike where he is. They're going to take him out that way. But we also have to closely keep an eye on the next leader going into place. Someone is pushing themselves into power. Will that be the next person who goes in, or will there be another one after that? 3 changes of power. I'm thinking 1, 2. Yeah, there's going to be 2 more. We'll have to see how that plans out. Also in that video, you heard me state that there's going to be plans to retaliate. Sounds like we're there right now. Definitely want to retaliate. They already are. So how are they going to retaliate is the big question. Could these lead to some of my past predictions of remember, shooters on the streets coming out of sewers or coming out of the subways? Or my predictions around the simultaneous attack that I saw happening in the United States and allied countries? That would make even more sense. I also stated in that video a biological attack in Tel Aviv. So let's hope not. Let's hold in the light that peace does prevail. I just saw a video of somebody in Iran speaking about that, saying we have weapons that you're not aware of, and it's not a nuke. I'm going to go with biological. And I believe that they're developing something too. They're still working on something, probably using artificial intelligence technology to help them with that. There's a very dark, sinister man there, waiting to get into power. So, one falls, the next evil one steps forward. Eventually it'll all die down, but not for a while. Not for a while. And prophecy is certainly playing out, friends. Prophecy is playing out in the Middle East right now. And I have no doubt that they will finally fly some type of a flag ever so falsely, or multiple flags ever so falsely, in order to give, the United States and Israel a reason to drop troops on the ground. And the use of new weapons, as I predicted. The use of 2 new weapons. A tactical nuke, I would think, would be a new weapon. If it's not an atomic bomb, they're a little different. And we haven't seen, I've never seen the use of a tactical nuke before. And that's definitely on the table, according to the spirits, unfortunately. I could be incorrect here in my memory, but I believe I remember saying there'd be 3, or no, 2. The use of 2, perhaps 3 tactical nukes. And I believe one of them could be used by Russia. Now this brings into the question, another really big question. Is there a planned attack coming to Los Angeles, California? Because the FBI claims that there's a threat of a drone attack from the ocean. That's what they're saying. They're going to bring boats over and launch attacks from the ocean. We never actually heard Iran mention this. They never mentioned anything about such attack. This came directly from the three-letter agency. And you know what I say to that? Isn't our ocean borders already protected? Or did we send all our ships over there and we have no protection for our own country? Just wondering. I'm not sure. That's why I ask. Would it not be easy for the globalists and the illuminated ones to plan such an attack and blame it on Iran? Of course it would. Of course it would. Sound familiar? 2001? And if you may recall, it was also a while back that I saw some type of drone attacks taking place in a city. And it appeared in my vision more like an attack on people than it was like an attack on anything military related. So let's hope that never happens. And Trump claims that they knew, or they know, the government and the Trump administration know where all these sleeper cells are hidden. Did you hear him say that? We know where all the sleeper cells are and where they're hidden. Well, if you do, then why have we not seen any raids? How come we haven't seen any arrests and breakthroughs in these sleeper cells? Why? They obviously have no friggin' idea where they're at, so they're full of crap. They will tell Americans any lie and deception possible to manipulate the masses and keep the sleepers fast asleep. Let's face it. So, could an inside attack be coming to Los Angeles, California? A very well orchestrated plan meant to be disguised as a flag flying ever so falsely. What do you think down below in the comments? So much conspiracy, I know, has already gone viral over the past week. After the FBI announced this threat to California, now there are claims that Larry Silverstein, you know that guy? Talk about creepy. Larry Silverstein just acquired the U.S. Bank Tower in L.A. and it had suddenly been insured for terrorism, just as he did for the Twin Towers in New York City weeks prior to the 2001 attacks in New York City. That is what the alleged conspiracy, false information that's being put out all over social media right now. Because I looked deeper into this. And Silverstein actually acquired the towers in New York City. And then 2 weeks prior to that attack that happened in September of 2001, he insured those buildings. He insured them for a very large amount of money. And then, of course, 2 weeks later, we know what happened. And after that attack in 2001, he cashed in over, I think it was $4.2 or $4.3 billion. And the fact of the matter is the U.S. Bank Tower, friends, it was indeed purchased by Larry Silverstein, but it wasn't recently purchased, and that is false information going around on the internet. He actually purchased it back in the year 2020. And we looked, and there's no proof that he changed any insurance policies recently. So always fact check, friends. Always go down the rabbit hole and look deeper. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Sure it could. But there's a lot of BS being put out there all over the internet just to receive clicks. He does own the building. You know, he definitely owns it. He owns it, and he owns that tower. It's an interesting looking tower too, which he actually also happens to lease space in that tower. Not that it's related, but I thought it was interesting. He leases space in that tower to two very huge Israeli insurance firms. Yeah. I would tell anybody who works in that building, if you notice one day that they don't show up for work, especially in those offices, evacuate immediately. Because that's what happened in 2001. Those associated with the same faith as Silverstein, of course, they didn't show up for work that day. As a matter of fact, Larry was known to eat every day. He went up to, I forget what, maybe the top, I forget. But he went in up there every single day and ate breakfast. Every day for years in the one tower. But then, you know, he also conveniently didn't show up for work or at that restaurant on that September 11th day. Coincidence? Luck? Chance? Or a planned agenda? Which one do you think it is, friends? I did state in the past that there would be lots of attacks coming on banks and on the banking structures. In Iran, the main bank and their banking systems were bombed, cutting them off from funds completely. And now they're trying to print more money, allegedly. I say allegedly because I didn't see them print it, but I have no doubt they are. Of course, they're desperate. Major attacks on banks and the banking systems are unfortunately yet to arrive. Of course they attack that bank. And remember, they're not connected to the central banking system, just like Iraq wasn't, Libya wasn't, Afghanistan wasn't. and Russia isn't. That should tell you something. It's the big bankers. But we are unfortunately going to see major attacks on banks and the banking systems that will arrive on our doorsteps this year and in the coming years, including some type of attacks on Wall Street and on Wall Street in New York. Not sure what that is. That could be where we see drones or something happening around Wall Street. Now that that's all gone viral about the U.S. bank tower in California, I doubt that they will actually target that building because everybody's talking about it on TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms. They're all talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. You think, I mean, these guys are pretty, excuse the expression, ballsy, and they don't care anymore. They get away with everything. I mean, look at the Clintons, look at all of them. Yeah, but I don't know if they would do that. And if they were to do that, if they were to hit that building, they would hit other buildings to throw people off. But it could make sense. I mean, it could make a lot of sense. Because things are coming to big cities, and LA is one of them. I feel that July and the summer months are going to be a time to really, really watch for attacks more closely. Surprise attacks. We expect it now, but they're going to hit when we least expect it to hit, including some type of hits around Easter weekend, which is right around the corner. Remember, I said something about Easter in one of my predictions. Let's hope not. But Easter weekend came up strongly for me. So be safe out there, friends. Be safe. And when you are out there, always know that you are safe. And so it is. Another clip I want to show you today comes from an early 2023 channeling session that I did. And listening to this now, friends, years later, I have no doubt that much of this is a prediction for 2028 and the 2028 elections. Listen carefully. As we thought back in 2023 that it would pertain to the last elections, it would have made sense. Some predictions take 2 to 3 years to play out or a little longer. Now it makes much more sense that this is going to come in 2028. And somehow there's going to be delays around the 2028 elections. As I predicted recently and got that information recently, that would end up being the case in 2028. Delayed elections. But why exactly? Why? Give a listen and you'll receive the answer.
Another huge event is coming to the planet in which you must prepare yourselves for. It will be an intense time, especially in the United States and North America, as the Earth is about to do some shifting. Some of it natural, but some unnatural event is coming that will be blamed on being a natural event, but you must know of the weather modification systems that they have in place to bring about this huge earthquake event. A great shaking to the city of the United States. Several great shakings as a great shaking comes to the political structure, in turn affecting everything with upcoming elections and shifting the elections. The energies will intensify in the month of April as the eclipse energy comes flowing in. This is bound to heighten emotions on levels that will make some of the people become radical, or what is referred or called or miscalled radical. As people awaken to the truth, people will become very angry. Some people will not want to face the truths of what is happening and unfolding on the planet, especially after the great event occurs. This great event will change everything within the United States and other countries as well. But the people must know that this great event shifting humanity is meant to awaken people to a new earth, to a place where humanity comes together in pure love. Sometimes it takes a great shaking to a person or to the people in order to shake them out of the trance state of hypnosis that they have been in most, if not all, of their lives.
I stated that a great event is coming to the planet, which obviously has not quite arrived yet. There's been a lot of events, but not the great event. This also confirms what I stated in the most recent channel predictions about China striking the US in some way with weather warfare. It's out there. I showed you the patterns on it. People don't believe it. They still don't believe it and leave comments revolved around it. It's there. I'll have to bring up the patents and show people again. Because it was years ago I showed you all the patents for it. The patents that are held by people like Gates and the government and many others. Not that this will all be the case, but certainly it's going to match up with the predictions. Certainly is all going to match up with the predictions, including delays in the next elections. The same administration staying in place in martial law. Remember, I showed you the illuminated cards, those cards, the illuminated ones. I showed you, it showed martial law on it. I showed you many of those cards and how they predict the future. I want to do a video on it, but anytime I do anything on it, the video gets blocked. That's why I haven't done anything on these illuminated cards. All the more reasons, friends, with all this going on, again, to stay grounded, never get scared, but always stay prepared. 2 doomsday fish washed ashore in Cabo. Is this a sign of something huge to come? I don't know about you, friends. I find these fish to be so fascinating and quite beautiful creatures. I mean, check it out. Really interesting. And this time it wasn't just one. It was actually 2. If you watch the video clip, there's one over there in the water and one crawling up to the beach. There's 2 of them on the same beach in Cabo, which is in the Baja Peninsula, down along California and Mexico, on the west coast. Now, something that we have not seen before was 2 on the same beach. That one I've never seen before. We have seen the doomsday fish wash up multiple times. I'm pretty sure it was last year. And thankfully, there was no doomsday earthquake as event that followed, as the belief in the legend says that when the doomsday fish rises up, major earthquake hits and major earth events take place. Didn't happen last year. Unless someone points out that I'm wrong, but I don't recall what happened after. We thought it was. We thought it was going to happen in July. Many people predicted July. No doomsday event followed. Superstition does predict that, of course, it would be the case. Still, does it mean something? Does it mean something huge is on our doorsteps, friends? We've been feeling it, all of us, for a while now, right? Whatever it may be. We may not know, but we've been feeling it. Remember, we discussed the conspiracy symbolism. Atlas, come say hi, Atlee. You probably can't see him. He's down here. Oh, little lab. Atlas. Anyway, remember we discussed conspiracy symbolism before around Mountain Dew labeling. Remember that? Many past labels adding up to major events that actually did play out in the world. Creepy, right? One of those labels that we discussed when I did that little segment a year or 2 ago, it might have been last year, early last year. One of those labels we discussed happened to be the Baja Citrus Cabo. No coincidence, friends. And now 2 doomsday fish wash up in the Baja Cabo. Yeah. And look at the label. If you look at the label, it shows large waves washing fruit to the surface. Large waves. 3 big waves on the one bottle. In the past, weather scrying videos, I've been strongly pulled to that area of the map, if you recall. Baja, California, and Cabo, same thing. And that's the most southern tip that I was pulled to, right where Cabo is. No coincidences there. And I'm not saying that this is all happening in the near future, but I am saying that that area of the globe is going to be inundated by floods and perhaps tsunami waves from nearby earthquakes. Let me know what you think about all that in the comments and your feelings on this below. Is the West Coast about to get a huge earthquake that's really going to affect Cabo and that Baja Peninsula? I know it's coming, but I don't put dates on things. But maybe the doomsday fish do. Over the past week, we had a bomb threat on an airplane causing an evacuation of the airplane. I'm sure you saw those videos. I don't have to show them for you. We had tons of airplane issues, delays, and cancellations as predicted. All, of course, during the Mercury retrograde energy shift, which is becoming all more too common, friends. I'm glad my next flights are after the direct retrograde and during the post-shadow of the Mercury retrograde, because I know Sister Lori went to Colorado, got stuck in Texas overnight, then they lost their luggage for 3 days. Very typical of Mercury retrograde. My flights were pretty good. I'm not complaining. But yeah, you got to be aware of these things for sure. Got to be aware of these things for sure. Not only that, friends, remember back a while ago, I had a vision of a plane landing in the water, and I kept comparing it to the plane that landed in the Hudson, because I saw icy waters. I don't have the picture. I'll have to try to find it and look it up for you. But somebody sent it in the comments that a small plane actually did crash into the Hudson in icy waters. You could see the plane in icy waters. I don't know how those people survived and swam to the shore, but bless them for that. Guess it just wasn't their time and their soul contract. So that did come into fruition. And we are still, I warn you, in that accidental energy window. So be careful. Be careful. As we've been seeing more and more injuries, ask people who work in the medical, they'll tell you more and more people being injured from falls, accidents, incidents, including major motor vehicle related accidents, motorcycle, even people falling on their skateboards or what have you. More people breaking bones or getting hurt. So you got to be very, very mindful that we are in that accident prone energy. Accidents and incidents, including potential accidents around aviation, transportation, and again, personal injury. So just be mindful, friends. Just be mindful while we're in this window. And if you question climbing something, then don't climb. And kids out there, you question jumping a ramp with your skateboard or your bike, don't question, just don't do it. Wait until we're out of this window. And I have a simple warning also today about food prices. And that warning is that they are simply going to rise once again and rise again. The prices of food are already ridiculous. Ridiculous. With the current conflicts, those that are still on the horizon, the coming rise of temperatures and floods affecting crops. And let us not forget how the WEF and friends pushed thousands and thousands of farmers out of business since 2020. All prepping the planet for a global food crisis. This is why Spirit's been telling us for years to stock up on things. Dry foods, freeze-dried foods are the best because they keep their nutrition and everything. It's important, friends. Very, very important. Especially, I'm about, because I know that stuff's about to jump up really high, I'm about to stock my freezer with meat big time before it all goes skyrocketing again. So I'm just putting that out to you all. I did videos on food crises a while back, years ago. And we're in that window of time where we have to be more mindful of stocking up on food and the money we spend on doing so. Moving on to a different subject, Cuba. Cuba's having a crisis. It's not the Cuban Missile Crisis, it's the Cuban power crisis. I warned Cuban and the Cuban people. I told you that they were going to eventually rise up and rebel. I seen it in the comments this morning. People were like, there's a total blackout. And they have a lot of blackouts in Cuba. But they're calling it a total blackout. Like everything's off. Because they depended on Venezuela oil. The administration in the United States has done this on purpose to Cuba. Cuba's next on their list. I told you that. Cuba is next on the list. It's going to happen. And now huge protests are breaking out in Cuba. Did I not say that a month ago maybe? That I saw the people rising up in Cuba against the government? I don't know. Hopefully it won't work out like it did for the people in Iran when they stepped up against the government. Prayers to those folks, because we really need to get these communist regimes out of power for sure. Even though it kind of seems like some of them might not be openly communist, but secretly communist. Just weird times we are in for sure. But yeah, they're having anti-conflict protests also happening over there in Israel. I mentioned that earlier. They're all against it. They don't like Bibi. They don't like him. They don't want this. They didn't ask for this. We didn't ask for this. They all wanted it to empower themselves with more money and more riches. And we've seen the video or the pictures, I think I have it on my phone here, of Bibi holding up the future new Middle East. I'll have to find it and put it in this video. He held up the new Middle East, and in that new Middle East, it's parts of Egypt, parts of Saudi Arabia. How are you going to acquire that land, Bibi? They're working on that right now, friends. They're working on that right now. Here's another thing that's interesting. The mysterious disappearance of Neil McCasland. General Neil McCaslin. I got to pull him up here for a minute. Hold on a second. Oh, I forgot about that too. I wanted to tell you about that. I know I brought General here somewhere. I swore I had an article here about him. Somebody asked about it in the comments. About the general who went missing. Pretty sure from here in Arizona. Well, from in Arizona. Where the hell did that article go? Oh, there it is. There he is. I have to zoom in on people's faces to read them. But missing Air Force general's wife addresses UFO rumors. Authorities release new photo. The wife of retired U.S. Air Force Major General William Neil McCaslin has spoken out regarding the many UFO rumors surrounding him and his disappearance. Meanwhile, officials from multiple law enforcement agencies continue their search. McCaslin has been missing since Friday, February 27th, when he was last seen headed out for a trail run near his home. Oh, New Mexico. All right, close enough. Arizona, New Mexico, they're neighbors. He went out for a run, and he's in New Mexico. That's one of the capitals of UFOs in the world. Let's zoom in on his picture here. Guy's actually got good vibes. I wouldn't expect some generals would have good vibes. I think they'd have really stern vibes. But he actually has pretty good vibes, holds lots and lots of secrets. I do see him out on his run. I see him out on his run, and I see that he's taken. I don't feel like he's deceased, but I feel like he's taken because of the wisdom and knowledge that he knows. He's still alive. He's being held. He's being questioned. And it feels to me like he's being held by perhaps even other galactic beings. Interesting enough. But he is well. The question is, will we see you again? Likely not so. Got taken for too much knowledge and wisdom. That's all I get around this gentleman, this general, and his UFO knowledge and wisdom. That's pretty crazy. Prayers to him and his family. Prayers to him and his family. And I think I'm going to cut it there because I got a busy schedule. I got to get this up and out. And I have the Black Mirror predictions video coming out in the next day or two. Keep an eye out for that. Lots of good predictions there. If you missed the prediction video, top predictions I put out last week, make sure you go and check that out. I'll make sure there's a description up above or down below in the comments. In the description, not in the comments. Down below in the description or up above. Down and below in the description, you usually see 5 different recommended videos each week, or they'll pop up above. Other than that, friends, I really hope that you have a blessed new moon tomorrow, or today, whenever you're watching this. A very magical equinox, and a very abundant new cycle that is now on our doorsteps. Wahoo. Exciting, good, positive vibes are about to flow in. Take advantage of them. Take advantage of this coming weekend and celebrate life and celebrate you. Until the next time, friends, remember, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And namaste, and much love, friends.